observations to its Telangana plant. On the other hand, walk hard rallies after successful phase 3 trials of a pneumonia drug.
Indian Sugar Mills Association tells CNBC-TV18 they expect a positive outcome after meeting the Petroleum Secretary over ethanol production curbs. Says they do not foresee any fall in production. Sugar stocks recover in anticipation.
CNBC-TV18, embarking on a quarter century of excellence.
Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of Markets Forward. This is the show where we'll aim to get you all that you need to know as you gear up for tomorrow's trading session. I'm Prashant Nair. With me, my colleague Reema Tendulkar joins as well. Reema, hi.
Hi, and we've got our viewers covered for the next 20 minutes with all the big news, the key developments on Dalal Street, top corporate voices, events to track ahead. But the day's market action, very quiet, right?
I mean, on the large cap indices, very quiet. And I think it kind of took off from where we left off last Friday and Thursday, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday last week were
big days, big day.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then it became a little quiet on the last 2 days. Although, I mean, it's been up. So Thursday, for example, we got a bit of an intraday pullback that got bought into. Friday, we got a proper pullback that got bought into. And actually, the Nifty ended higher. And today was no different. Today, actually, there was no large movement. We ended about 20 points in the green. The levels remain the same. The lows of the last 3 days is about 28.50. So that's a support to hold. That never really came under any pressure today. And on the upside, there is unfinished business at about 21,100. That's the rising upward sloping trend line where I think the market will find some resistance. PSU banks did very well. That's been the best performing sector. Actually, you would say all of this year. You can extend time frames and it's done well for some time now. But last week, I mean, the recent up move has been led by PSU banks. Metals did quite okay and real estate as a pack did well. Actually, only the Pharma index was down, and that's largely because of one stock, which is Dr Reddy's, and we can talk more about that. Mid caps and small caps, 0.5% to about 0.75% gains. It's a big one for global markets as well, Reema, because, everything is in favor of the market doing well. So sometimes you wonder what can go wrong. So one thing, well, not go wrong, but I think something which can, at the margin, provide opportunities, a little bit of whipsaw, is global stuff, which is US CPI tomorrow. And then, of course, Wednesday, you've got the Fed decision.
And back home, in terms of India macro triggers, we've got the IIP and the CPI inflation print later this week. But the big headline on the sensex is that we've crossed that 70,000 mark for the first time ever. 70,057 is the new all-time high on the Nifty. We closed below that level, but still with a gain of close to about 100 points. On the Nifty, it was just about a 100-point range all through the day and finally ending about 3 points below the 21,000 mark. As Prashant pointed out, big gain seen in the broader market. Mid-cap index ending with a gain of 0.7%. The advanced decline ratio had 3 stocks gaining for about 2 stocks, losing. But let's tell you what we've lined up for you in our show today. We start off with the top movers of the day. Hormus will be joining in. The stock of the day was Dr. Reddy's. Ekta will join us to give us the key reasons why the stock fell 5% in today's trading session. And CNBC TV18's popular segment, D-Street Chatter, also on the show. And Dimesh will tell us why SpiceJet has been rallying every single day. And last but not the least, we delve into the key market events to watch out for tomorrow's trading session.
Okay, well, that's a lineup here over the next 20 minutes or so. But first, our piece is, of course, the top stocks, which really made all the price action. Hormus is standing by with that list. Hormus, take it away.
Well, indeed, and there were plenty of movers in the broader markets. The broad benchmark indices were quiet, as you mentioned. But they'll start off with sugar stocks, and you saw some bit of relief rally coming in today. And the companies are anticipating some bit of relief after meeting the Petroleum and Natural Gas Secretary today. But the star of the session on the upside, though, was Ireda. And that stock is unstoppable. And it's just been 9 days since it listed. It's now nearly tripled from its issue price of 32 rupees. Another 20% circuit today, 85 rupees. on IREDA. What also ended at a 20% circuit was Cheviot, and that was because all jute stocks rallied considering the reforms that were implemented by the cabinet last week. Another 20% circuit for Cheviot as well. Other jute stocks also rallying, which included Ludlow and Gloucester. And moving on, UPL was the top gainer on the Nifty today. Highlighted this morning that the stock was attempting to cross its 100-day moving average and it was finding resistance there. It finally closed above that 100-day moving average level of 595. Moving on, we see Patel Engineering. That stock has been up for 7 straight days now. That stock has gained 35% in the last 7 sessions, and today's surge has taken the stock to a 6-year high. For Patel Engineering, another 11%, 68. But also ending at a record high was Dixon Technologies. That has seen another stellar move, another 7% today on Dixon, record high 63.72, and the stock has rallied almost 21% in a month. The next stock that is coming up on the list is Polycab. We highlighted this earlier that Polycab has now dethroned Havells to become the most valuable wires and cable stock in the country. The stock ending at a record high 4.5% for Polycab as well. And moving on, JK Cement was the stock that was up for the 8th day in a row. That stock has now seen the longest winning streak in 20 months. And that was just a 1% gain, but the stock was up for the 8th day in a row. And lastly, IRFC, that stock saw a 7% move today. Strong session for IRFC, gaining the most in 3 months. And that stock has taken support from its 50-day moving average. Those were some of the movers in today's session. Back to you.
Interesting list as always. Thank you for joining in. To talk more about the way forward for tomorrow, Nagaraj Shetti, technical analyst at HDFC Securities. We also have market expert Hemang Jani joining in on the show. Nagaraj, first question to you. Thoughts of the day so far, and how do you suspect tomorrow is likely to be in terms of the large indices?
The overall chart pattern of Nifty remains positive. What we can observe on the daily chart is the tremendous moment, significant moment in the Nifty without showing any real any severe downward correction at the higher levels. Though Nifty placed at 21K mark, still there is no any reversal pattern is unfolding at the higher levels. I'm expecting this consolidation moment is likely to end in the next 1 or 2 sessions, and we could see a resumption of further upside in the Nifty. On a decisive up move above 21,000 levels, I'm expecting Nifty to reach up to 21,550, which is the next upside target for me. It could be achieved in the next 1 to 2 weeks. At the same time, at the lower levels, 20,850, which is a recent lows of last 2 to 3 sessions, is going to be good support for the market. And I'm expecting any dips in between the downward during consolidation period. I'm expecting to be a buy on dips opportunity for the Nifty. For me, I'm expecting further upside for near term.
All right, further upside from here on, and 2850 supports coming in. Well, time now to talk about the stock of the day, the sector of the day, Pharma. I mean, actually, the index was down today because Dr. Reddy's was sharply lower. But Dr. Reddy's, while was sharply lower, there was another pharma stock which was sharply higher. I'm talking about Wockhardt. Ekta is standing by to talk about both these and the reasons why these moved in such sharp fashion. Ekta, take it away.
Thanks for that. Well, for Dr. Reddy's, I'll start with that one. It was in focus because in the month of October, its Bachupalli plant was inspected by the US FDA and issued 10 observations. Now, those 10 observations have come to light, and the street was not too enthused by the observations. And this is an important facility. For example, it contributes around 30% of the company's US revenue. They manufacture 4 of the top 10 US products from this particular plant. Now, brokerages such as Antique have written on the 10 observations. They say that some of the observations are severe and can probably lead to a warning letter as well. There are issues such as out of specification, which means that the drug didn't meet certain standards, contamination, data integrity, market complaints which have been pointed out, and it remains one of Dr. Reddy's critical sites, manufacturing over 100 products. Now, Wockhardt is in focus because one of their drugs, which is a new chemical entity, nafrithromycin, which is being studied for pneumonia and is branded as WCK4873, actually has shown good phase 3 data. The study showed ultra-short course of 3-day treatment is as effective as a 7-day therapy of a drug which is generally used, and it resulted in a clinical cure of 96.7% of patients versus 94.5% for the other arm. they did not even see any kind of adverse events in this particular drug. Now, the company says they foresee a significant opportunity in India as well as emerging markets. They will be filing for the drug approval with the DCGI in the next few weeks, and it would be probably a commercial launch in India around mid of 2024. So the street seems to be enthused by the opportunity from it.
All right, Ekta, thank you very much for both. Wockhardt is up 70% this year. It's been a big year, and today was pretty big as well. Hemang and Nagaraj are with us. Gentlemen, thanks for waiting. Hemang, out of the two, DRL and Wockhardt, what are your thoughts?
DRL, I think there is clear-cut case of overreaction. I think if you look at the nature of the observations, I don't think they are that serious. Also, we feel that when news hits the market, there is a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but after a point, it settles down. So I think a 5% correction provides a great entry point. Wockhardt, we don't cover. It's a small pharma company, and one important development like this pneumonia drug can contribute significantly to their top line. So the stock can actually give you a big upside, but we don't cover it. So no specific view from my side.
Got that. But you do believe the reaction on Dr. Reddy's is overdone. The other sector of the day is sugar stocks, and they recovered in trade after the Petroleum and Natural Gas Secretary met with the Sugar Mills Association over ethanol production following the government's move to curb the use of sugarcane juice to produce ethanol in the 2023-24 season. In fact, the ISMA president told CNBC-TV18 before market close that sugar production is in full flow and a positive outcome is expected. Manisha is here to decode the story. Manisha, what are you picking up?
Well, thank you for that. What we do understand is that the Petroleum and the Natural Gas Ministry, the SECI, has had a meeting with the three OMCs and the sugar sector as well, and assured them that they would be listening to that. We do know that a second review would happen in January, but even before that, with the kind of conversations and with the kind of concerns that the sugar as an industry has in the peak of crushing season is something that the relevant ministries are trying to talk about. We also do know via sources that also is a PMO meeting slated for 5 p.m. tomorrow to also ensure that the ethanol supplies do not suffer and the mills continue to work with a higher capacity. The concern is that nearly 25% of ethanol production comes in from cane or syrup, and that has been banned with immediate effect. So what the industry is looking or seeking clarity on is, one, will there be new tenders that would be coming in? The tenders that have been picked in, would that stuff be picked up? Also, when you talk about immediate effect, the industry cannot shut down or start immediately. So there is a bit of a lag to that. And a lot of industry representatives tell us that the capacity that many of these sugar mills are working is anywhere between 30 to 40%. But the big plus is that there are these meetings happening. The government is listening to sugar as an industry, and a lot of suggestions are being put forth. And some of them actually could be taken in as well, and that is the kind of positivity that you are seeing into the markets right now. The other thing that the industry is wanting to do right now is look for an increase in ethanol prices. If that comes through, that also would be a positive. That has been in waiting for some time, and that is in anticipation that you have seen some positivity come into the markets yet again.
Okay, we should know by tomorrow, Manisha? Tomorrow?
It does look like, if if it doesn't happen tomorrow by tomorrow morning, then the PMO meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. is expected to come out with some concrete statements there.
Got it. Thanks very much for that. I mean, Hemang, you want to just weigh in? So it's like we don't know, right? There could be some relief. There couldn't be. It's possible that nothing happens. But any thoughts? Sugar names, Praj. I mean, these stocks have corrected.
I think two things here. One is that in an election year, if the government doesn't want to take chances with the sugar prices, and they have taken a call that they want to have slightly more inventory, it clearly goes against the sentiment. Secondly, ethanol is a very important strategic call. If government itself had decided for a certain mixing figure, and if they are coming up with this kind of change view, I think that could be a bit of a setback if the government continues with its stand which they've taken. So I think for now I would stay away from both Praj and some of the sugar companies till we have some clarity.
Okay, do stay on. We need to get you some big corporate voices that we got today on our channel in an exclusive conversation with CNBC-TV18, Shenu Agarwal, Managing Director and the Chief Executive Officer of Ashok Leyland said that the November sales got hit due to elections, but the company is optimistic about Q4. Shifting to the real estate space, we also chatted with Arvind Maya of Embassy REIT, who said that all the new special economic zones are being taken up by global companies. He also said that IT companies are giving up their space due to their portfolio realization.
Okay, all right. Well, it's time for a quick commercial break here. We will get to our popular segment, D Street Chatter, with Nimesh on the other side. And of course, we'll tell you what events to watch out for tomorrow when we return. Stay with us.
CNBC-TV18, embarking on a quarter-century of excellence.
Welcome back to Markets Forward. It's time now for a segment D Street Chatter where Nimesh will get us an insight into dealing room chatter. Nimesh, what's on your radar?
Well, another day of consolidation, but it's the broader markets which continue to outperform. So, in terms of individual names, the first on my list today is Kotak Mahindra Bank. The private banks are well bid, and within that, Kotak Mahindra Bank stands out. Big volumes on that stock in today's trade. I expect high delivery volumes, and I understand some strong FI buying has emerged in Kotak Mahindra Bank. So that's the first one. Second, I'm expecting large QIPs this week. So that includes the names like SW Solar, J&K Bank, as well as Indian Bank. So all three are buzzing off late, but expect QIPs in all the three names this week. Maybe you'll see SW Solar as early as today evening as well. So that's the three names. The third one is Piramal Pharma. That stock saw a large block in today's trade. Nearly 60 lakh shares got changed hands. And I understand a domestic mutual fund was a buyer in today's block and an FI was a seller. So disclosures could be interesting in Piramal Pharma. And the last is SpiceJet. Big volumes and that stock has been buzzing in today's trade ahead of the board meeting for fundraising. I understand there is going to be large dilution and some large market investors, including a US-based fund, is likely to invest in SpiceJet. And that's the reason why that stock was buzzing in trade today.
Okay, 10% higher, and we'll watch out for the names later today. Nimesh, thanks very much for that. Nagaraj is still with us. Nagaraj, any thoughts on any of the names that Nimesh mentioned? You broadly believe the up move is intact. Your own sort of ideas and stocks to back from here on.
Yes, of course, uptrend remains intact, and even mid cap and small caps are likely to do well in the coming week. On that front, I'm having two stocks. First one is JBM Auto, second one is Solar Industries. I'll just brief out the technical parameters of JBM Auto. If you can look at the chart, after the decline downtrend of September to November, this stock has formed important bottom reversal around 1113 levels in the later part of October. This JBM Auto now is showing some rounding bottom type pattern and with the higher bottom formation. The overall chart pattern is looking positive, though it has closed with the upper circuit. If it gives an opportunity next session, I think it is going to be a good buy for me. One can buy around these levels, and the target would be another 100 rupees on the higher side, approximate 1450 levels, and 1300 is going to be the stop loss. The solar industries has been in a sharp uptrend recently, and in the last few weeks, we have seen some quick knee jerks from the higher levels and currently forming an important bottom reversal at the 10-week EMA. The overall chart pattern is looking positive. Currently closed around 6624 levels. One can buy at this juncture at the upside targets of around 6950, and one can place a stop loss at 6400.
Thank you very much for that. JBM Auto, though it's up 160% year to date and 225%, in the last 1 year, it's still away from its 52-week high, which is 1607. So 17% away from its 52-week high. But as we wrap up on the show, we'll get you some of the key events to watch out for. Ekta is here with us. Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, yes, tomorrow is going to be a big day because the Fed meet begins and rates are expected to be unchanged. Separately, we have the US CPI data for the month of November, which is expected to be flat on a month-on-month basis at 3%, with the core CPI estimated to be higher at around 4%. Now, back home also, we have macro data. We have CPI data for the month of November, which is expected to inch up on a month-on-month basis. IIP is also expected to inch up on a month-on-month basis to around 10% for the month of October. Q2 earnings from Gandhar Oil Refinery. We have HDIL, which will be reporting Q2 standalone numbers as well. Board meets, a significant one would be Adani Ports to consider issuance of NCDs tomorrow. Analyst meets, Firstsource Solutions. They are going to be talking at the Elara Capital Next Tech Technology Conference. Birla Soft Systematics Investor Conference. PG Electroplast is having an Investor Day. AGM by Suven Pharma as well. Dividend ex dates, BPCL, Vedanta, HAL and Hindustan Zinc.
Okay, well, that's snappy as snappy as they come. And of course, I mean, with tomorrow's break, that's day after tomorrow, the 13th, we get a couple of IPOs which sort of kick off as well. Well, that brings us to an end on this edition of Markets Forward. Thanks very much for staying with us. It's goodbye from the entire team here on Markets Forward. Programming continues. Stay with us.